Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Let's Talk with Carrie Jemii. As I always say, I'm so excited. That's my thing to say. And today is going to be an amazing show for you guys. So I hope you guys stay tuned from the beginning to the end because how I did this particular show, I'm layering it a little bit. So you want to stay, if you can, from the beginning to the end because it's going to be a great show. Before I dive too much into it, I do want to say, give a shout out to all the Capricorn birthdays in my life, from Kimberly Coleman to Shantae Dabney Connolly. Call her Dabney all the time. Stacy Stylesworth and Contavia Johnson. And today, one of my favorite Capricorn birthdays, Jay Marbury. So I wish you a very great happy birthday today, and I hope you're having great fun with your family, and I love you so much. Happy birthday, friends. So we're gonna get started. We have three special guests. So today we're talking about diet and exercise. Some people call it a lifestyle and fitness and different names. So we're going to get into all the nitty gritty today. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guests. One is going to be a little late, but my guest right now that I'm bringing on is Robert King and Nikisha Thompson. Let's bring them in. How you guys doing tonight?
Hello, I am awesome. Shout out to all the Capricorns. I agree. Some of my closest friends are Capricorns.
Yes, they are some great friends. So you gotta have one in your back pocket for sure. No offense to the Aries, Rob. No offense.
Yeah,
Aries are your friends too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna introduce you guys individually. We have Robert King here. He is a certified CrossFit level 1 trainer.
it's just CrossFit level 1 trainer. So that's it. The CFL1.
And I've been knowing Robert since 1996. So it's been a long time, and we are like brother and sister. So I appreciate him. He's on here speaking as a fitness coach, but his by trade you are an engineer, correct?
Correct. Field service. Yep.
Field service engineer. So he's super smart. Just letting you guys know. Now next we have Nikisha. I know she said she goes by Keish, so I'm going to call her Keish Thompson. I just newly met her, so I can't give her full bio, but she's a weight loss blogger, and she does a whole lot of other great things. And I'm just grateful that she was at a part of our show today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And newly added is Fanny. Fanny from Chicago. She's coming way of Homewood, Illinois, and she is a founder of a fitness program called Create Your World. And she has a whole lot of things, and we're going to get into that nitty gritty too. So I'm gonna let everyone speak on, what they do and what they do with their life and everything like that. So just to start the show off today, again, we're talking about diet and exercise, right? For me personally, people may think like, what does this have to do with life coaching? But it has a lot to do with it. Yeah. Because if you're not confident about who you are, not just internally, but physically, it can derail a lot of things in your life because it definitely affects your confidence, right? So for me, I am an advocate dieter. If they had AAA for it, I'll be in it. Like, oh my God, I have such a problem. Because if it's keto, I'm on it. If it's Weight Watchers, I'm on it. If it's Atkins, I've done it. So, I mean, even Beyonce lemonade diet. I mean, anything that comes out, I'm like, how do you do it? How do you lose weight really fast? And, one of my girlfriends, she cannot stand the word diet, and she hates diets because she knows that it's only a temporary fix, really. And a lot of diets are not, they're not like developed for you to keep off the weight long term. So what I've learned is that it is a lifestyle. And I know each one of you guys are going to speak on that tonight. And so I'm so excited.
Speaking of that, you say diet, and it made me think about when Kanye was on David Letterman's on Netflix. My next guest needs no introduction. And just like you just said, he said he hates that word diet. Instead, he chooses to use live it. So, and I like that because diet has the word die in it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
here,
mean, it is what we make it at the end of the day. You know
mhm,
what we connect to. The word only has as much power as we give it. So if you're thinking of diet in a way because your connection to it is a traumatizing or painful time in your life, then of course diet is going to connect to you in that way. To someone else, it may be, wow, I changed my diet and I feel so much better. And their connection to the word is something. So it's not the word, it's the intention behind it and how you connect to that experience to me.
right.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And I
I
mean,
think.
even going with the word, everyone has a diet, whether
Mhm.
you want to acknowledge it
Right.
or not. If all you eat is
Exactly.
McDonald's,
Like we all have a
it's a
name.
McDonald's diet. You know, if
Yeah.
all you eat is, fruits, vegetables, that is your diet.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
Right.
you really try not to look at it as though like you're chasing a fad or this is what everyone else is
Exactly.
doing. It's what you're doing on a
Yeah.
consistent basis.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. If we put fat diet on it, then that's when it becomes a diet that has a bad,
Mhm.
connection to a negative connection, whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, we as people in the health and wellness industry, I think it's our responsibility that we change the trajectory of how things have been going because it gets people connect to it, and just when you say diet, it shouldn't be. Ugh. We have to educate. We have to do more education. It's our responsibility. We people should not be mad at that word at all.
I feel like when I think of the word diet, I usually associate it with, okay, I'm going on a diet so that I can lose 10 pounds for this vacation, or
So
I'm going on
a
a diet
restrict
so that I can,
is
Right.
restrict.
yes,
How
so that
about
I
I'm
can
about
fit
to
into this
just
wedding dress or something. It's something
yeah.
temporary. But I realized that when I started shifting my thinking when it came to dieting, and I started thinking of it more as a lifestyle thing, that's
Mhm.
when I started to lose the weight and keep it off. And it wasn't like, oh, I'll start my diet over tomorrow. It's like, no, this is how I
Right.
live now. So
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
it makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I'm glad we're talking about this. I want to go ahead and start. So how we're going to do the show? I'm going to start with Fanny, and I want her to speak more on like the nutrition. You could add the fitness piece, but speak more to us about nutrition because I know that's why you created your whole brand. It's based on what we put in our bodies and giving us life versus death. So it's funny that we talked about the diet and the word diet in it because you talk about when I met you, you just like spoke so much to me. We was like connected. We were on the phone for like 2 hours talking about this stuff. So I just want people to know what you know because you know a lot. And so I want you to start there, and then we're going to go into the fitness part and have you speak on that a little bit, Robert. And then, of course, we're gonna say, I ain't gonna say the best for last, but he's gonna have a great testimony. So to
Yeah.
tie everything together. So go ahead. We'll start off with you, Fanny. Tell us a little bit about why you think what we eat is so important and what made you create your brand, create your world.
So thank you again, Carrie, for having me. Thank you, everybody that's here tonight and everybody that's tuning in and watching. It's a blessing to even be in the midst of a conversation like this. So I'm
Amen.
excited to be here and share the jewels and gems that we are about to share with people tonight. Some people may already know the stuff that we're talking about, but some of this conversation is going to be new to people. So just sit back, relax, and I know all of us are here for questions in the end if people want to connect with us. So my name is Fanny Dillingham, and I'm the founder of Create Your World. The premise of my organization is to teach people about healthy eating and exercise as a lifestyle and not just something to do, because we have an engagement coming up. Or just it's a lifestyle, just like we were talking about earlier. And the reason why we should choose it as a lifestyle is if what we say we really enjoy in life is important to us, the people that we connect to or the things that we are connected to, then it only makes sense that we preserve the one vessel that we have in order to carry those things out.
Amen.
My motivation started with my own health because I used to weigh almost 300 pounds. And it was through just a lot of stuff that was going on in my personal life. But food is what connected me to a sense of comfort. It was a sense of happiness, a satisfaction. It was the one thing that I could control because the things that were going on in my life were out of my control. So food was my happy place. Um, I got tired of it. I got tired of the way I felt. I got tired of the way I thought. I got tired of the pills not working, doctors giving me prescriptions for blah, 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 blah,
Right.
all the time. I'm knowing that I needed to put in the work, but I didn't want to do it. Who wants to who wants to do that? Like that,
Right.
it hurts. Like it's painful to even create that level of discipline and changing the way you eat when all you know is like the good greasy food, all the
Mhm.
salty food, that stuff. That's how do you break away from that?
Mhm.
I broke away because I just got tired. I didn't know when that switch was gonna flip, and it just like clicked. I'm like, I quit. I'm done. I'm not. It's over. Like cold turkey, everything. I just got tired of being mad and dissatisfied because nobody could fix me. I was only able to fix me. So I took it back to the old school way and changed the way I ate, stopped doing the fad diets and the pills and whatever else, and had to learn how to do it the traditional way. And so when I started following instructions like the old school, the people that came way before me and stopped trying to get shots and pills and everything else to take 40 pounds off in 1 month. Yeah, I did it, but then I gained it right back.
Right.
Yeah.
Please.
Right.
Because
So
I
what
was
did
I was not right here, so I had to flip it. It was a wild time, but it was a fun time looking back. But I started dropping the weight. People were asking me like, what are you doing, how are you doing? So I started training people for free.
you?
I loved it. It was hard for me. It was a dark, lonely place, and I finally learned how to do it. So I said, I'm gonna chill. I'm about to show everybody. I want to give it away. And so I was training people. I had files and everything. I'm like, wait a minute, this look like work right now. Change it
Yeah.
into a business, and so that's how Create Your World came to be, because I had to separate myself from everything that I was connected to and create my world. Um, I had to create the space that I wanted to live in. I had to create the mindset. I had to work at it. It was a discipline that had to be created, something I didn't even know. I learned through the process that anybody can get up and exercise. We can get up and we can throw 100 jumping jacks out right now because we know how to break it up in four sets of 25, because we know how to break things down because we're so used to doing it. But
But how? Let me ask you this.
nutrition was the hardest part.
Just to interject a little bit. Let me just ask you this. So you said you woke up and you made up your mind, like, okay, I need to do what I need to do for myself to eat better. So how did you start that? Because I know what I want. I know I want the audience to like be encouraged today to know that they can get to where each one of you have gotten to. Right? We're not magicians and just this Superman or
Oh yeah,
superhero. Right? We were regular
Yeah.
people who
Yes.
decided to make a difference in our lives.
it took
So
years.
and I know, and people think that it's a quick fix, but like you said, you went back to the old school. You can dive into that a little bit, like old school as far as what you went to counting calories, or you
So I
just ate.
stopped all of that.
Okay,
I stopped all of that, like, because what I've tried to do as a business owner is not a business owner, client, customer, whatever you want to, whichever end that I'm on. I never want to shame what other people are doing. I never want to speak on what they connect to. So if somebody's doing Slim Fast or Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig or the Lasso Teas, whatever,
And what worked for
whatever
you.
they're doing, that's what they're connected to. And I don't want to say that it doesn't work, because it's working for them. I'm saying that it didn't work for me. It worked for me at a small amount of time, but I wasn't patient with myself to get it. It's here. It's nowhere else. It cannot be found anywhere outside of you. It's a personal journey. And so it wasn't overnight that it happened. I had to keep on going through it to find what worked for me. And what worked for me was to go back to Richard Simmons, Billy Blanks, all the old
Old
school
school,
people,
school.
right,
you
Okay.
know,
right,
Tony Horton. I had to hit it with those people who were teaching it the traditional way, and it wasn't overnight. It was a bunch of, I won't even say it was mess ups. I was learning. I was going level to level. I was just, I've
right.
learned this.
So
Now it's time to go to the next move. So it was just some education on my side of, doing research to find what foods, because I was really big on, I got to be full. They call it the itis or whatever. That was my connection. I needed to be full all the time. There wasn't now I know when I feel a little bit full, just a little snap, I'm satisfied. It's time to put the fork down. I'm done. I don't want to push my stomach anymore, but I didn't know that at first. So I researched foods that would make you feel fuller longer. I learned what carbohydrates really function as, and not as the devil, that they function as a source of
That's a
energy.
fact.
Exactly. So,
Folks had us talking about no carbs, no carbs. No wonder you're tired and your hair falling out,
Yes.
boo. Come
mhm,
on. You're not getting the proper nutrients. I had to start, researching vitamins and, what did I need if I'm gonna be a vegetarian this week? What
right.
kind of proteins, what foods are gonna make me feel tired and not be able to, what foods are gonna make me have energy for exercise? Because my whole thing was I didn't want to be on anything. I had did like different powders to give me energy, like had creatine and his skin was breaking out, all kind of madness. So I was like my own science project. So what ended
What
up
was some of
working
the
in the
not to interject, I'm sorry. This I just want to make sure y'all know this conversational, so I'm just gonna interject here and there. But what are some of the foods that you found that were, like you said, made you feel full? What are those foods and the foods that gave you energy?
right. So um I want to start with the energy first. So what I found was taking on a diet that where you almost eliminate meat, if not eliminate meat, will increase your energy in ways that you probably will never be able to capture again in your life, to the point where you feel
Yep.
the energy that you had when you were a child. Um, yeah, the energy that you had when you're a child, and the reason why is you can see it, like it's like in our face right there, point blank simple. I'm trying to digest a corpse. It makes absolutely no sense. I'm a living being trying to digest something that's dead, and then I take it home and I make it even more dead because I cook it and I fry it and I bake it and I broil it, and it's shot up with all these steroids and whatever else they decide to put in there. And I don't even know if it was real. It could have been a clone. It could be whatever. I don't know what it is. And I'm putting it in my body and I'm asking my living body to take this on. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah,
So of
yeah,
course your body's not going to have the high level of energy it could have if it's constantly trying to digest toxic waste is what it is. The foods that I found that give you energy are foods that are plant-based, foods that are living, to not boil your food to death, learning how to blanch it, learning how to appreciate the natural taste of food without any seasoning,
Keeping
just
all
the
the
broccoli
nutrients in there.
alone, just the carrot alone. It's like once you start eating a mostly raw diet, your whole palate changes. Everything is like powerful. Putting anything extra on it makes it like you're overdoing it. But it only comes in time, because I used to need all those sauces. So now I know how to write meal plans that are delicious,
right.
where you can appreciate that you know how to use regular herbs, just the herb, not the extra salts and the whatevers,
The
just to learn.
adobo. Get it on there.
Girl, that stuff burn my mouth. It does. I can't take it. I don't like it. It's too powerful. And but it comes, you have to want it. At the
Right.
end of the day, it boils down to how bad do you want it, or how much do you want it, whichever word you want to use. Foods that give you energy. You want to do like sweet potatoes. You want to do kale. You want to make your. You want to try to keep meat out your diet as much as possible.
Okay.
Smoothies, put using different types of greens, because you don't want to have the same type of green all the time, getting the same kind of vitamin from that green. You want to switch it up. Kale, dandelion, spinach, Swiss chard, then go back to the kale. Just keep, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm sorry, I'm
No,
going.
no, no, but
No, you're
that's good.
good.
You gave a lot of good information. I do want to, the point of the show is to answer questions live and everything too. So I know we got a question that came in. Any of you all can talk to it, but I know it's about fitness, so it could be a good segue into Robert talking a little bit about the fitness piece. The question is from Roslyn. I call her Roz. I know her. Hey guys, I'm starting cycling this week at home, and I'm confused about the pre-post workout nutrition. What should I focus on? There is so much out there that I'm overwhelmed.
Well, absolutely, both of them are important. I'm sorry, was that who? Was it
No,
you
no,
need
you
answer
know,
that? No, go, 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 go. I've talked a lot. Go.
no, no, it's okay. It's just looking at it with the pre post workout nutrition. With cycling, I'm guessing this is with the Peloton. Roz, is she there?
I don't know. We'll go
But
ahead.
the biggest thing to focus on is how intense that workout is going to be and what you're putting back into your body. So if the goal is to lose weight, right, then you really got to focus on consuming less calories than you're actually using that day. You get what I'm saying? So did I say that right? Yeah. I said that right. Yeah, you gotta focus on that. So um
So
personally,
yeah.
I would want to look at your numbers. Like I would want to know my numbers for me, because when I'm in the process of, let's say, shredding or trying to gain muscle, then I am actually looking at those macros. That way I know I actually hit my goals. It's not so much as about the look, but more about how my body feels and responds to the workouts. So yeah, toning and cardio stamina. Exactly. So you're actually focusing on the fitness aspect of it. So um, a good site I like to use, I recommend it for everybody. It's like if you're going to look at your macros, your macronutrients, is IIFYM. It'll give you a good baseline of what your protein intake needs to be, your carb intake needs to be, as well as your fats.
Okay.
So once you get a good idea of what that actually looks like, then you'll be able to, if you want to, just eyeball it from there. But I would start there. Biggest thing, if you're working out in the morning, let's say you're doing fasted cardio, just make sure you're drinking a whole lot of fluids before bed and before that workout. You want to be properly hydrated. That's another thing that uh, makes us feel like we're hungry, is being dehydrated, and most
Mm,
people are dehydrated. So you really want to try to consume, let's say, like half of your body weight in ounces. So if you like 140 pounds, your goal, just, and these are just spitball numbers, your goal should be trying to shoot for
right.
like 70 ounces of water a day.
Wow.
That's
A
on
lot.
top of, your coffee and things like that. But the biggest thing is is consistency. And that's what I was just hearing earlier. I mean, you were very consistent in accomplishing your goals. And I mean, for a lot of us, that's the big key we tend to ignore. It's the consistency. No one gets unhealthy overnight. You just consistently do things that lead to being unhealthy. You consistently do things that lead to being overweight, right? So if we just make it up in our minds that we're going to consistently do this, you're going to see the results. That's whether you work out 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week. Over time, you're going to see those results,
Yes.
regardless of what you do, whether you're going old school, looking at Billy Blank, or you're doing CrossFit, or you're doing traditional weightlifting in the gym, Olympic lifting, whatever the case may be, as long as you consistently do it, you're going to reach that goal. You're going to see those results. The same way you woke up at 35, 40 years old and say, oh my God, what is this?
Right.
Just the consistency, you know.
So
So
you
one thing
mentioned
that I
CrossFit. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
One thing that I've found as far as something that has helped me in like my what I eat before I work out and what I eat after I work out is I usually try to eat something like lighter right before I work out, like a carb. So usually that'll come from like a fruit. Because I have found that when I have even just that little bit of energy, it does help me to go harder and longer in the gym without making me feel like I'm way down. And then once I get back, and mind you, I work out early in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning, right? So once I get back,
Wow.
that's when I'll refuel with carbs, and then I'll also refuel with protein to help me with muscle repair, especially if I'm doing like strength workouts. And so that's usually what my pre and post meals will look like. And then also just the way you structure your meals throughout the day, I feel like is also important. Like for me, for example, I usually try to eat a heavier breakfast and then work my way down throughout the day. So like a lighter dinner. And that's what I found to help me, help sustain me in like snacking throughout the day, keeping me out the drive-throughs at lunch.
Right.
And so I do try to keep in mind not only just what I'm eating before and after I work out, but also how I'm going to structure my meals for the other 23 hours in the day.
Right. All that's important. We had a question that came up, but I think Roz answered it for her. And I think that's correct, right? You have to drink half your body weight in water.
Yeah, that's a goal to shoot for. The goal, you want to shoot for half your body weight in ounces. So
Wow.
that'll give you a good daily intake of water.
Wow, that's
Right.
a lot of water for certain people, not everybody.
Another thing to keep in mind with the diet too. I know you said you tend, well, so traditionally we've been taught to eat, lighter in the day and then a dinner. But if you think about it too, the time that we need the most energy is in the daytime when we're moving around. So why not eat the biggest meal in the day so we can use that food as fuel and then go down? So like do an inverted pyramid, so like rather than having 2 smoothies in the day and then dinner, why not have a big breakfast and 2 smoothies? So because your body is about to get ready and go into relaxation mode. So why are we trying to keep our body digesting food all day long? That's a lot of work, So as much work as our bodies do just involuntarily, why not give it a break when it can? It's not even about giving it a break, but just matching the need for the need. I need the most energy at this time, so let me eat according to the need. And so it's like your body, you turn it into like a melody, it's already doing its own symphony on its own. So, and then we can come in and just throw in some extra rhythm, and and it's like, man, come through. If we just think about, like you said, eat to live, feed the need of what's there. And it is a discipline. You have to really, really, it is work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
But looking at that, what's that? 1L asks, do you believe 3 meals a day is helpful? I mean, personally, I think that's a good baseline. But again, you have to think about what it is you're consuming across those 3 meals and the timing of it. If you have those moments where you're feeling hungry, it's either, as we talked about a little bit early, you could be not taking in enough water, or you're spacing your meals too far out. And so that's when we tend to overindulge. So it's really about that timing and the spacing of the meals.
And what's your lifestyle?
Mm-hmm.
What lifestyle do you have? Because some people don't need all that food,
But again, it's like if you take 3 meals, the average person is supposed to consume what? About 2,000 calories a day. That's what we say. And each meal, right? Each one of those meals, you're bringing in close to 2,000 calories. That's way too much.
Right.
That's entirely too much. So we have to be, again, mindful of what we're consuming.
Yes, and I think it's a balance though, because if you eat too little, you will gain weight because your body is starving all day long. Correct. And you haven't ate anything. So now you're going to eat something and your body is going to cling on to it. So I learned that a lot from my sister. She was like, Carrie, what are you doing? You're only eating once a day. And I'm like, why am I gaining weight? She's like, because your body, like, I'm hungry. And, so it's a balance between, that's why I know a lot of people don't like to do the calorie thing, but I think that that's a basic too to go back to, calorie in, calories out. Because like you said, in conjunction to what you said, like if you're going to eat 2,000 calories throughout the whole day, but to lose weight, you got to only eat 1,500, then you need to work off 500 calories so that you can stay at your 1,500 calorie mark. So I'm trying to learn that myself, but it takes practice. Robert, I know you mentioned CrossFit, and a lot of people are talking about that. I don't want it to be like it's a fad or anything, but it seems like it gives your body a great workout. So what is CrossFit? Explain it.
Well, I mean, if we go by the definition, it's what? Constantly varied functional movement executed at high intensity.
Wow.
So
that's a lot.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, what it really is just from my experience, it's really just the sport of fitness. Everything about CrossFit is about your overall fitness. We're doing exercises to meet a certain stimulus, whether that stimulus be for time. So think about cardio, muscular endurance, whether that goal be for weight. Now we're talking about strength, how much weight we could move within a given period, whether it be what's another one? Time, weight, reps. All right. So as many reps as possible or as many rounds as possible in a given time. So the whole idea for any CrossFitter is to just be overall healthy or overall fit. So it's not.
So is it similar to HIIT a little bit? Like
Yeah,
just
very similar to HIIT, but it's not just high intensity.
Way more intense.
Yeah.
oh wow, okay.
No.
Yeah.
So some of the workouts are really not that bad. I mean,
I've done, don't, Rob, don't. Do not.
like,
Do not. Do
like
not. I've done CrossFit, and listen, I want more. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I definitely want more. It was the hardest.
it's, oh, come on.
That's what I think.
Rob, are you
hardest-
serious? You
There's a lot
gonna
of
sit here?
people-
You gonna sit here and say
No.
CrossFit ain't hard?
Yeah, if you want to do everything at the prescribed or RX, it
I
can be
know
very
what that
difficult.
means. What's RX?
Our RX is the prescribed workout.
Duh.
Yeah. So remember, with CrossFit, everything is scalable. So even a grandmother in her 70s can do CrossFit. That is the beauty of it. The beauty of it is that the workouts are designed and can be scaled for anyone to do them, regardless of their fitness level. I've personally seen people in wheelchairs do CrossFit workouts.
You do know that that's not those not the ones I'm talking about. You know the ones.
I do know, but the whole idea is to fight against decrepitude, because as we get older, that's what we're going towards.
Okay.
And so we want to try to prepare our bodies now, so
Right.
that they can take care of us later. And even me, I'm 38 years old, and there are guys at the gym where they're sick and they're just crushing these workouts because their fitness level, they've conditioned their cells to be at that level. And again, just like we talked about earlier, it's all about consistency. As you consistently do it, you're going to get better. And CrossFit has benchmark workouts where you are able to see your progression over time.
Okay.
There was a time where I couldn't do an overhead squat. I could barely get 65 pounds over my head and squat. One, because I didn't have the mobility. And two, I just didn't have the strength. But in doing it and being consistent with it, now I just did it last week. I did 165 overhead. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus, look at this.
Wow.
You know,
That's
it
good.
worked.
So, Rob, what would you, I have a
Congratulations.
question personally.
Go ahead.
What would you say attracted you to CrossFit in particular? Because I do feel like there's a lot of people who may be curious about it, but they're not sure if it's going to be right for them, especially if you're like Fanny or myself and you know or you've heard how difficult CrossFit can be.
Right.
It's very intimidating.
So-
and not necessarily beginner. It doesn't seem beginner friendly.
But
Right.
it is so beginner friendly. Like, honestly, what attracted me to it was just like we talked about earlier. I tried some of everything. You know, I was going to the gym, doing traditional lifting, but I couldn't quite lock in. And I even tried CrossFit back in 2012 and then stepped away from it because I couldn't be consistent. Then what happened? I ruptured my Achilles playing basketball, and I was out for like 7 months. I got fat. I was starting to look like my dad even more, and not in a good way. And, you know, it was terrible. And then the owner, Craig, that's my bro. He's super cool. You need to get in the gym. I care about your health. And having that type of accountability I was consistent because he said, look, bro, you just need to get in here. All I want to see is you get healthy. And next thing I know, after like 3-4 months, we had the conversation. You don't look at what everyone else is doing, because if you do that, you will feel some intimidation.
Yeah.
The fact is, just like we're all here, each and every one of us, we just want to get better. Regardless of what we look like now, we just all want to get better. And we were all at that place where it's like, man, how do I get here? That is CrossFit. The guy that you see in there with the six pack and super ripped, hey, he's trying to hit a new PR. The person that's in there 20, 30 pounds overweight, they're trying to get down to, that size dress or pant size that they're looking for. Everyone is trying to improve. And when I saw that in the culture, everyone holds you accountable. They're like, yo, bro, did you just skip a rep? Let me get this. Everyone encourages you. It was my first CrossFit Open that like really sealed the deal. I was in there trying to do them overhead squats, and I was struggling with, I think it was 115. And they like, come on, Rob, you could do it. You could do it. And they just cheered me on. And I was like the last person to finish.
Wow.
And I felt so bad. I was like legit in tears.
The culture is rock star. It's rock star. I love it. I definitely I want it. I want it, but like you said, it's hard to get there. You find courage at CrossFit.
Yes.
Right.
But if you show up,
I want to get to, I'm sorry, y'all. I just want to get to some of the questions real quick because we can talk for hours. And Robert, I obviously see that you're passionate about it, so you can probably talk about this for another 30 more minutes. But I do want us to get to the questions a little bit. We had one question that I want us to answer real quickly. How important is digesting and detoxing to you all? So I know, Fanny, you are a big fan of detoxing. You have those detox waters that you create for your brand. So how important do you think detoxing is?
Okay, I want to talk about that. May I ask that digestion portion of that question too?
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
Yeah. I guess,
Is it okay if I answer that portion? Okay.
Yeah,
just to break it down. So we think about digestion. If we think about where disease sets up, if we think about the origin of things. Okay. So our house, we have this piping system, the sewage, the toilet, the sink, whatever. When we put water down the drain, things that can be broken down easily down those drains, it flows fine. You don't have any backup. You don't have to call out the plumber. You don't have to do any of that. This is what's been directed. These are the suggested things that you do for your plumbing system. Don't put paper towels down there. Don't put wipes. Don't put garbage down there unless it's a garbage disposal that can grind it up and break it out. That's our system. That's the piping system that we have inside of our body. So if you think about what we're putting in our bodies, what are we putting in? What are we asking our bodies to allow to flow through and be broken down? Are we putting foods in our bodies that are easily digestible, or are we putting foods in our bodies where our bodies have to struggle to break it down and get it out? And even as it's struggling trying to get it out, it's leaving residue all in our arteries. Our arteries are just getting tighter and smaller and smaller and smaller. What do you think is going to happen to that blood flow? It's going to have a hard time getting through. It's going to eventually start backing up. What'd you say?
Now you're talking about the blood flow, the arteries being clogged.
All the arteries. All the arteries end up being clogged. It's a backup. Disease starts setting in. You get plaque. It's, I'm not trying to bash meat, but we know what it is. We know what it is. We know what it's doing. We know what is it? What kind of food is it called? The box food? Prepackaged food? What is it called? Processed food. Yeah. We know what processed foods are doing, but we like the taste. We're so hung up on the taste. But if we open up that piping system, which is our body, don't be in that hospital crying, talking about what shoulda, woulda, coulda when you nobody didn't say you couldn't have the cake. Don't eat the cake every day. Yeah. Don't eat the meat every day. There are days when you have to put those foods in consistently that are easily digestible. The fruits, the vegetables, the beans, the grains, those foods that can be easily broken down. the root of the disease is likely starting in our digestion, in our digestive system, because there's a backup toxins that shouldn't even be in there, that should have been gone, should have been up out of us, in waste. It's sitting in our bodies and it's decaying. What do we think is going to happen? And then
So that's why.
we're looking for things to improve our skin. We're looking for things to make our hair grow. We're looking for all these things, but what about what we're putting in? We're thinking if we go into these, states of depression and we can't get out for long periods of time. What are we putting in our mouth? What are we putting in that's affecting our mood? Read the back of those labels. Teach yourself. All that information is there for the taking. Google it. If you don't know, what does blah 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 mean? We want to try to stay away from foods that have an abundance of ingredients in it. What is this? What does it mean? You end up finding that I know somebody turned me on years and years ago about, hot dogs and the ingredients that were in hot dogs. Then it flipped into learning about the different ingredients that were in certain potato chips that, attributed to ADHD and, heart disease, all kinds of stuff. But it doesn't say it on the package. We just open it up and we eat it because it's convenient and it makes us happy. But we have to do a little more digging.
And so that's why I think detoxing is important, because when you detox, now you're pushing all those things out that she just mentioned. Go ahead.
So when we detox, that's happening, but we can't keep using it as a quick fix either.
Yeah,
it can't be that I'm gonna go hard for all these weeks. Okay, I got to detox now. We're taking our body through trauma. We got to get some consistency going on, because you can drop the weight. Yeah, it's gonna help you release and get that stuff out, but it's a bigger conversation that needs to be had. You have to change. You need to change. You have to change how you're looking at food and how you're respecting yourself. It comes down to
we got to be honest. We have to be honest with ourselves.
Yes.
When you go to the doctor and they ask you, so how often you drink? Please don't tell those people what you think they want to hear. Their job is to help you. So actually say, oh yeah, boy, I had like a pack of beer every night. Like, be honest, because this is how you tailor, a wellness plan for someone. And being honest, if you're hiding where you actually are, what you actually do, it's really hard to get out of that situation.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and answer that. When you answer the question, can you answer the one on the screen too about heavy breakfast, since you talked about that?
Yes.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, going back to Fanny's point, I feel like a lot of times people don't realize how what we eat is like intertwined into how we feel, and not just like physically how we feel, but also how we feel about ourselves. Like, when you're eating unhealthy, you're going to feel bad. And I can speak on this in particular because I did notice that, of course, everyone knows that sugar is like, it'll give you a temporary high, but sugar makes you crave more sugar.
Yep.
And so you're wondering, like, dang, why do I have a headache? Oh yeah, it might be because I had a parfait, whatever for breakfast or whatever. Or you're like, oh, why do I have a sweet tooth? Or why do I always feel like I need to have something sweet on me or nearby? And it's because you're constantly feeding that. And so, going back to your point about meats, I in particular, I do eat different types of meat, but I'm fully aware of the fact that I do feel better when I do eat more of a plant-based diet, or more grains in my diet, or more fruits or vegetables in my diet. So I can totally speak to that. And I feel like a lot of people, if you even just change your diet for just a certain amount of days, just to see how it's going to affect you, you'll notice the difference, and you'll see the difference in your skin. You'll feel the difference. You can sleep better. There's a variety of things that can improve in your life, literally just changing the way that you eat, that you may not have thought food had anything to do with.
But it's like, even with the meat, if you look at the recommended intake of, let's say, red meat, it's only a pound. It's actually a little less, but it's only a pound per week.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Not per meal, per week. That's all you're supposed to be consuming. Anything above that, we start stepping into cancer territory. Like, and again, that's something that you could Google. So again, being aware of what we're putting in our bodies.
So going to the heavier breakfast question,
Yeah.
in my opinion, and of course, everybody, what you eat is going to be different, but I would consider a heavier breakfast to be maybe a protein and a grain and something um, like I'm trying to think of an example. Like if you were to eat like an omelet, I would consider that to be like a heavier breakfast. Or if you were to eat like
Oatmeal.
oatmeal and
Yeah.
some fruits and maybe some toast or maybe turkey bacon or whatever, I would consider that to be a heavier breakfast. And then something lighter in contrast to that, I would consider something way more plant based or something like fruit or like Fanny mentioned, smoothies. I feel like those things are lighter, and you know the difference because you can feel the difference. Like literally, when you can eat a heavy breakfast, you're good. Like you're not gonna be snacking through until lunchtime or like munching and crunching at your desk because you had a good amount of food in the morning, and then at the same time when you go to bed, you know that you had like dinner because you don't feel heavy. And again, going back to what Fanny mentioned, you don't have the itis. You're not going to be
Right.
like, oh, I am so full. I'm about to go lay in this bed, put on some Netflix. No, like you want to eat foods that make you feel like, okay, well I've had enough and now I can go lay down and not feel like I'm heavy or like I'm like super bloated or now I gotta go to the bathroom or whatever the case may be. So I feel like those things would be heavier versus a lighter dinner, if that makes sense.
Oh,
And
and
you know, that oatmeal you spoke on, that oatmeal, it's like it should be a part of our diet. See, diet in a good way. It should be a part of our diet on
right.
a regular basis. You know, that's a carb. That's
Good part.
what's called a complex
Complex.
carbohydrate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make
we
you
need that.
full.
Complex carbohydrates keep us fuller longer. They're great for our digestion. They are great at helping us flush out. They're great for our skin. They keep us fuller longer. So if you are dieting, you're looking to diet, you're looking to lose some weight, you're looking to get your stomach flatter. How do you do it? You do it through nutrition. Like they always say, abs are made in the kitchen, and they truly are.
Oh yeah.
There are people
Yeah.
that are out here that are there is a such term called fat and fit. There are people that are fat and fit because they haven't mastered that nutrition piece, but they're strong. You know, they can do CrossFit like crazy and
Yeah.
pull-ups,
Wow.
everything. But that nutrition piece just won't allow those muscles to do their thing. That fat is in front,
Yes.
like, look, I'm here. As long as you keep on eating like this, I'm setting up shop. And so you have to find those foods that keep you fuller longer so that you can stop running back and forth to the kitchen. And oatmeal is one of the most wonderful foods to do that. And you can make that oatmeal be so abundant. It can be like a full meal that can last you throughout the day. You can throw bananas in there. You can throw walnuts in there.
Walnut.
Walnuts are amazing.
Oh, I
Look, look,
love.
Wow.
look where the term banana walnut came from. Get you a real banana. Get you the real walnuts. Throw you some cinnamon in there. You know what I'm saying? You don't need sugar. You don't need butter. You can put some coconut milk in there and go bananas. Like it's too
Wow.
much fun. It's too much fun.
Sounds so
And then
so
it makes
good.
you it makes you
It is.
the way it makes you feel. You know you're doing something right. Like you eat that after your workout and you just on 10, you're like, surely I know wings about to grow out my back at this point, and it
Right.
just
Right.
it I want it for everybody. If they because
Yeah.
you talking to a girl that used to couldn't, man, I needed my bacon, my eggs, my grits with butter, salt, and pepper. They be having a little thing out there like, what's the competition? Are you a butter grits person or are you a salt, whatever they say, sugar? I'm like, shoot, all of them. I used to eat, I used to eat all,
Right.
I
but
think
the
Right.
game changed. I
Absolutely.
don't have that desire. I don't.
I also feel
Mhm.
like,
Now,
and especially in my personal experience, whenever I've reached the plateau in my weight loss journey, I always have to take a look back on what I'm eating. Like I could be going so hard in the
Yeah.
gym every day, cardio
It's
till I
like
can't
nutrition.
feel no more. But if, like you're saying, if you are not eating right, it's not gonna make a difference. Yeah, you might sustain your weight, but losing it, like your body, it's literally a calories in versus calories out, and so your
right.
Yes.
body's burning it off. But then if you go home and you eat it up, it's really just you sustaining your weight.
Right. You
And
just
while we're
doing
while we're
something.
while we're here, real quick, I just want to stick a pin in here because I do want Keish, I do want you to really talk about some of your journey. So I'm going to show us some pictures real quick, just so
I know,
people,
right?
so people can understand where she's coming from. So let me get this all together over here. Um, so I'm going to share this with you guys. So
Wow.
this is who we're talking to. Okay.
Oh my
She
goodness.
she has mastered this. Okay. And so I want her to really talk about how she got these wonderful results to
Oh
be.
my goodness.
Yeah.
This is really amazing.
That's
And so
dedication.
I really applaud you for this. I know
Mhm.
this took a lot of discipline. So can
Oh,
you go and talk a little bit to us about this and that journey?
yes. And the first thing that I want to say, and kind of going back to what you mentioned earlier, is that we are not anyone special. I wasn't born with an extra exercise gene. I wasn't, my family, like obesity, it runs in my family. I wasn't, um, there, there's nothing that made my journey easier than anybody else's. That being said, I don't want to be cliche, but if I could do it, you know the rest, right? And so that's number one. Number two, the second thing that I want people to know is the fact that this was not an overnight process. This took me years to lose the weight. So the issue I feel like with a lot of people trying to lose weight is that they're not being patient with themselves and they're not allowing time for the weight to come off. Because the truth of the matter is, the faster you lose the weight, the faster you're going to gain the weight back.
Facts.
Yes, and so I
So how
realized
long
that
have you kept your weight off? How long
I
have you?
started my journey back in 2017, so it's been like 4 years now.
Wow, that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
good. That's
That's
great.
what but you that patience word, that is so key. That is so key.
It is key. You have to have patience with yourself, and a lot of the time, people, you may not feel like you're getting a payoff for the work that you're putting in. Like if you're going to the gym every day and you're like, okay, it's been X amount of days. Like I expect to be 25 pounds down by now, and you look at the scale and you're like 15 or you're only 10, and
Mhm.
that can be disappointing. But that just means, okay, I need to maybe take a look at take a look at what I'm eating, or I need to give myself a little bit more time, or drink more water, or get more sleep. Not
Or it
everything
can
is
be
going to
inches too, right? Sometimes it
or it
don't
can
be
be
Yes.
pounds.
inches.
You gotta
Yes.
Yeah,
check
and
the
that's a great
inches.
point because a lot of the time, some of the changes that you'll see in your body, no matter how much time you've invested, they're not always going to be a reflection in the mirror. Sometimes your lungs could be getting stronger, or your heart is getting stronger, or sometimes you're just
Mm,
improving your self discipline. It's a whole body change that you're going through, and this
Absolutely.
transition is not going to be like a 30-day like lose 30 pounds kind of deal. And so once you get that concept through your head, then the entire process becomes not easier, but it becomes more tolerable.
Yes.
Um, and
wow,
so
that's amazing.
that being said, for me, I was also that person who I was like, I'm gonna try this diet and we're gonna see how that works. But I could never, like, I was never the kind of person that could sustain anything for too long because I felt like, okay, well, I'm just gonna eat fruits and vegetables. I'm just gonna stick to salads for the next 30 days and see what happens. That's not
Wasn't that
realistic.
painful?
It was terrible. I was making myself miserable. Um,
Miserable.
yes, and so one of the golden rules that I found for myself to help me to keep the weight off, and knowing Keish like I know Keish, is to
Mhm.
cut back and not cut out. So, for
Okay.
example, there's a lot of diets out here that they restrict, so like no
Yep.
whatever kind of foods.
Wow.
Period.
Like what?
If you don't plan on eating like that for the rest of your life, I'm
Right.
I
sorry to
do.
tell you, but
Yep.
as soon as you get back
Yes.
to it, that weight is going to roll back on. And
Yes.
Yes.
so, yeah,
I'm
and
a
so
witness to that.
I'm also witness to that. A lot of people have unfortunately fell into that trap, and it's so easy because there's so much false information being thrown our way, particularly on social media, with people trying to
Right.
sell us things that we don't realize that, okay, well, this, like, they're trying to market something to me, but is this going to work for me in the long run? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
It's not in the border.
Yeah, so for me, the major change from me going from like, okay, I'm gonna lose the weight and then I end up gaining it back, or I don't sustain my diet, or whatever the case may have been, the click for me was when I actually injured myself. I broke my ankle, unfortunately, back in, was it 2017? I want to say it was 2017, but yeah, because that's when I started my journey. But I had broken my ankle earlier that year, And unfortunately, that means that I was basically immobile for a couple months. But during that time, I was so miserable. Like I was almost going to go into a depressed state because I couldn't move and I was in pain all the time. But not only that, but I was so heavy, like literally doing anything on one leg was like the biggest struggle in the world. And so I was like, you know what, diabetes, I'm sorry?
No, I say nothing. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Because diabetes runs in my family. So I'm like, okay, well, what if something happens and I get diabetes? Or what if they're, going back to lack of blood flow, what if something happens and I got to get something amputated, and I'm permanently immobile. Like I need to take my health way more seriously than I was. And so I was like, okay, Keish, as soon as you can get back on 2 feet, you're gonna do something about this. So when my doctor put me in a boot, thank God I was finally able to walk. And mind you, anybody watching this, please consult with your doctor first. Don't do like me and just take it for yourself to risk a second injury.
Please consult your doctor. Don't come sue none of us.
So I took it upon myself to get in the gym, and I actually started doing more upper body workouts. And then from there, as he told me, okay, well, you don't have to worry about all the time. I started, I was on the treadmill a little bit. I was doing a little walking, trying to get my cardio in and work up a sweat. And then from there, it went from just a slow walk on a flat incline to now I'm walking on inclines. And okay, now I got a little jog going, and okay, now I got a little run going. And I didn't really start to see results until after a month of committing myself to this, and also a month of changing the way that I was eating, because mind you, when you are sitting around the house and you got a broken leg and you can't do nothing, can't go outside, the doctor's orders is for you to sit down, what are you going to do?
Eat.
Yep.
Yes, that's the problem a lot of people are facing right now with this whole COVID pandemic, is a lack of physical activity. And so, mind you, I was like trying to, number one, do my whole recovery and make sure I was not going to re-injure myself, but also trying to reteach myself how not to eat as much as I was eating or as badly as I was eating. So I was going through all kinds of transition. But like I said, when I realized that I had injured myself and how more serious it could be if this was a permanent thing, or if I allowed myself to continue to get heavier, for me, that's where I started the workout routine. And then when I started to see a difference, that's when the motivation started to come for me to keep going. I feel like a lot of people, they sit back and they wait for motivation to fall in their lap, or okay, I'll go when I get inspired to go. Let me watch a few YouTube videos and maybe I'll feel like going to the gym. No, you just gotta go, because the motivation is what's gonna come later after you start putting in the results. You may be inspired to go to the gym, but what's gonna motivate you is when you start to see those numbers change, honey, or those clothes start to fit differently, or you start to get those compliments at work. Yes,
right,
absolutely,
right.
A trick that I use that you're talking about when you said do a little bit is when I don't feel like it. When I don't feel like it, I have to tell myself, I'm like, okay, just do 10. Just do 10 jumping jacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just do 10. I'm like, okay. So if you did, go and do 10 squats. Go and hit 10 squats. Okay. Hit the 10 push-ups. Okay. Yep. I'm ready now. Now I'm ready because I started with small steps, because now I'm warmed up. Now I can go into my stretch. I feel much better. My heart is pumping. That muscle is so powerful. It's what's keeping our bodies going. How can we deprive it of the exercise that it needs in order to be strong? It's the engine. It's like putting bad gas in an expensive car. Like, don't do that. Give it the good gas. Do the exercise. Do the jumping jacks. Do the the burpees. Folks be like, I hate burpees. Burpees get you strong. Burpees make you, burpees make you high.
No, they do not. They do make you go high, but they don't. No, I don't know about that.
Burpees is one of the most solid exercises you could do.
They are. They are, but they are hard.
So this is why it's hard, because your heart isn't trained cardiovascularly like it needs to be. The more you exercise your heart, the stronger it becomes. So when it's not trained to the level that it needs to be, it's pumping blood faster. So that's why you're out of breath. I can't do it no more, but as you train, you start with those 10 jumping jacks, you start with those 10 push-ups, you do 3 burpees, even if you got to walk them up, walk them down, do modified until you get there, but you're training your heart through and through. Your heart is getting stronger and stronger, so now your heart is pumping blood slower. Now you're taking on the characteristics of a runner. That's why they can run so far, so long, because their blood is flowing slower. It's not going fast, going crazy. Got you like, going. It's smooth. It's chilling, and you doing your thing. All you got to do is just keep. And it gets. It's such a spiritual journey. It turns into it's like meditation when you're exercising.
Oh, it is.
It's almost like that feeling of euphoria.
It is euphoric.
You feel good.
Euphoric, endorphins, all of it is in the same word. It's the same thing. And once you get there, you're like in outer space. You're in another place.
And it's
burpees are what we make it. If you want to be strong, do some burpees. And if you want to take it to another level, throw you some hand weights in there, take it down. Just keep on pushing your body. You're gonna find out stuff about yourself, Carrie.
It's like even with that, this is one of those things again. You want to be able to measure your progress. So in the beginning, you can only do 3 burpees. Next thing you know, you're doing 100 burpees in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You're like,
I don't know about that. Again, you're a little extreme.
That's what happens as you continually do it.
Exactly. That's all I said. That's the cross seat.
Yeah. I didn't think I could do it.
You want us to be quiet, Rob. I'm gonna be quiet.
I didn't think I could do it. And then just because every now and then we have these warm-ups that's called work on your weakness. And so for me, I hated burpees. Burpees was my weakness. So it took me, when I first started, 8 minutes to do like 100 burpees. At the end of that cycle, I got that down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Bro, seriously?
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I never called anybody bro till right now. I'm like,
But
That's excellent.
again,
That's great.
we want to measure our progress.
wow.
So everything that we do, we're just trying to consistently do it at a higher level.
Yes, Robin, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I feel like a lot of people, they only use the scale as a source of measurement, but there are other things that you can use to measure your success.
Absolutely.
And keep you motivated, like how much or how long you can run, or how many burpees you can do, or how many pull-ups you can do this week. Those are also very valid measures of success that I feel like can keep people motivated, or even just the number of days that you can go to the gym. Maybe you start.
I was just about to say that about you. Yes.
how you progress in the gym, that's progress. I feel like so many people look to the scale to tell them whether or not they're doing well, and there's so many other facets of your journey that you are not considering. And so for me, that was also one of the things that helped to sustain me on my journey for so long, because especially in the beginning, I was that person that every day I was like, wait, what's up? I was like, okay, how many pounds did I lose?
It doesn't it get depressing after a while? You're like,
very.
What is this?
Throwing myself to the mercy of a scale.
Exactly.
The scale did not tell me how much work I put in at the gym. The scale did not tell me how my clothes are starting to fit. The scale did not tell me that I was able to run an extra mile today. Those are things I can't tell.
Yes.
Wow. Excellent.
I don't hardly get on the scale ever. Hardly ever. I know what I'm doing wrong by the fit of my clothes and how I feel.
Exactly. And that is health. I feel like so many people are just thinking, oh, well, when I reach a certain weight, I'm going to be healthy. There's plenty of people that are slim and unhealthy.
Yes.
Worse than you are. And so it's like Naima, non-scale victories.
Yep, that's on point.
Victories are worthy to be celebrated, for sure.
So we're going to answer this last question about the smoothie, only because it's my father asking. Just playing, but if y'all can answer this question, and then we can go around and everybody can give one more comment, because we're already over the time. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But if you can give one more comment that you want to give to everybody to encourage them on their diet, lifestyle, fitness, exercise journey, that would be great. But who can answer this question? Is this a bad smoothie?
That is very difficult to answer, considering it's like
Yeah.
what
What
is
about for someone who's a diabetic? Is this a bad smoothie for a diabetic?
I don't think that's a question we should answer.
yeah.
Okay.
Only
All
because,
right.
only because,
Yeah, we're not
because
medical
it seems they need to pull that, you said that's your father, Mr. Coleman.
Mhm.
Just talk to your physician. They'd be best at telling you whether or not that's something that's healthy for you.
Now,
Mhm.
if you're doing something like a keto or something like a Atkins, this is a bad one because the 12 carbs of sugar, you're not supposed to have sugar. So it depends also if you're doing a certain diet or
I thought
lifestyle.
that was net carbs, so to
No, it
speak.
says 12 carbs of sugar.
No. I'm saying if you're
Uh,
doing keto or like
well,
Atkins,
keto, you can't eat sugar at all.
you're looking at net carbs.
Yeah, on keto, you can't have sugar at all. So 12 grams will definitely knock you out of ketosis if you were doing something like that. Yeah, no, you trust me. I've tried it. You can't do it. Depends on your body, but you can do up to 20 grams for ketosis. But you're not supposed to have that much sugar. It can really kick you out. But go ahead. We'll go ahead and everybody give like a comment that they want to give to the audience, and then we'll go ahead and end up tonight.
Okay.
We can.
So I guess my final comment that I would give to everyone is to don't be so hard on yourself. I feel like a lot of people hold themselves to other people's standards. Like you look at somebody on Instagram and you're like, I want to look like her, or I want to look like him,
Yeah.
or I can never lose this weight, or you're your own worst enemy. I feel like once you start in this journey, it has to come from a place of self-love and you wanting to do better for you because this is for you. And even people who say, "Oh, I want to lose weight for my kids," a happy and healthy mommy is a good mommy. So
Right.
you have to do this for you, and you have to also keep in mind that the process is going to take long. It's not going to be an overnight thing, and so be patient with yourself, love yourself throughout the process, and never compare yourself to others.
Good. Love it. Danny, go ahead. Or Robert. Yeah, doesn't matter.
I mean, for the last thing I would like to say is that your health is the most valuable asset you have. I mean, you could be a millionaire and out here on dialysis and in a wheelchair because you're not taking care of yourself, having legs amputated because you went full blown diabetic. So give yourself a good, I guess, like a good start. Look at your progress in 3 to 6 month increments, not weekly. You have to actually you actually have to trust this process. Even if you're not seeing the results, like Keisha talked about earlier, on the scale or in the mirror, look at where you're at 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. It takes time. And so, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Awesome. Danny, go ahead and end us in.
Yes, everything that they said, echoing everything that you guys, that both of you have shared. It's a mindset. You have to make a decision. You have to really hone in on that decision like you have anything else in your life. It's the same thing when you had to complete a paper for school. It's the same thing that when you had to prepare for that job interview, you had to research the company and find out how can I speak towards this company. You had to put your best foot forward in that interview and be ready to answer those questions. That same determination that you took in order to go get that job, to get your credit together, to get that guy, to get that girl, all those same things, that same methodology applies to you, your diet and
Yeah,
exercise. We have to stop separating things because it's all the same. If I
yeah,
want it, I get it. If I want it, I plan it, I research it, I go after it. You have to think of it like that. Turn yourself into a job and it's yours. It's going to be yours every time. You're going to go get hired every time you show up. So you map it out every day. You create that that schedule. If you have to write it down, something about putting that pen to the paper that it becomes real for you. Some people can keep the same schedule every day mentally,
Mhm.
but some people need to write it every day. I have to write my schedule every day. I look back and I got planners for years since I was in my 20s. I have to write it down. It's something about that check mark, scratching it off. If that's
Right.
something that you need to do, just remember, I didn't used to think that I could do it. I thought for sure that I would be overweight for the rest of my life.
Same.
I
Yep.
was secure in that position. It was no
Yes.
wavering me.
You
This was
accepted
it.
it. You just accept. I'm a
Mhm.
I
size five
accepted
plus
it.
size
I
girl.
was hot, mad. I had an attitude, and hot, mad again with an attitude. Clothes
Right.
not fitting right. You got to get tired. You have to want it just like anything else. We have to stop making like it's so different. We have to stop making like people that are on drugs are any different from people that can't control what they're eating. It's an
Right.
attitude. It's the
Yep.
same thing. We're eating because we need some form of satisfaction, but it's something
Hmm.
that's hurting us in the end, then we end up regretting it. Ain't that a drug?
Yep.
It's the
Yeah.
same
Addiction.
thing. We have to
Yeah.
stop separating.
Mm-hmm.
But thank
When
you.
a person decides
Oh,
to get off of drugs, they make a decision. They say that I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to smoke cigarettes. They say I'm not going to, and they stop and they put the plan in place. Put the plan in place. And even on the days that you don't get it quite right, get back up. Just
Yep.
Yep.
don't give up. Don't
Yep.
make giving up your permanent place because it's there for the taking.
wow.
Yeah. They
Thank
say
you.
something
You
becomes
guys
an.
gave some excellent points. Go ahead. Go ahead, Keish.
Oh no, real quick. I was just gonna say they say that something becomes an addiction when it starts to impact your personal life. And is weight gain not impacting your personal life? Is yourself the way you feel about yourself and your self esteem not impacting your personal life? So I agree. Food can be an addiction, and you have
Absolutely.
to learn to take control of it. If you can train your body to eat a certain way and get used to a sedentary lifestyle, then you can untrain it as well.
I didn't share one
Excellent.
thing. I didn't share one thing. If anyone needs some assistance with, because nutrition is really the biggest part of my business, but I also have detox waters. I know Carrie asked about them earlier. I didn't speak towards them, but I developed three different types of health drinks. So you can get detox waters, you can get them in a mason jar, you can get them in a bottle, or you can get powders. So I have detox. It's on my website at createyourworld.org. They are helping people curb their appetite. Brighten their skin, ridding inflammation. Have some people who have taken down their blood pressure. Their
Wow.
readings are great. Their diabetes numbers are good. Um, and it's helping people flush out people that are having issues with going to the restroom. They're getting that garbage out of them. And I even have powders, some that help you in your workout. I have ingredients in there that help increase your endurance, your stamina, and your workouts. Some that increase the libido in the bedroom. Some that help with your clarity and your focus. But all this came
Wow.
from my own health journey and just the research and learning how to combine those foods. And now I have a full product line. So it's truly a
It's
blessing.
beautiful.
Wow. Well, well, you all have been great. I mean, I think we kept a steady audience here and people asking the questions. So I appreciate you all coming, bringing your knowledge, your personal testimonies and experiences. And I got a lot from it. I know they did too. People can come back and watch this and get some more nuggets out of it. So I do appreciate it. If you guys want to go ahead, Rob, you got one more thing
I
you
was
want to
gonna
say?
say, yeah. For anybody that want to check out CrossFit, you could come check us out. CrossFit Resurgence in Naperville got two locations. So you got CFR North and South. So come check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Keish, did you
trust
have
me, you'll have
anything?
fun.
Follow me
No.
on Keisha Nicole TV for more inspiration. I try to keep a lot of inspiration going on my page with before and afters with what I'm eating. So check me out.
Awesome. And you can always check me out, Carrie Jemii. I'm here every Tuesday at 7:30. Next week's show, we're going to be talking about self-love. You do want to tune in. We're going to have another awesome guest speaker, and it's going to be awesome. You want to be there. So thank you everyone for being here tonight and everyone for joining us as an audience. And you guys have a great night. See you
You
guys
too.
later.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
Bye.
much,
you. Bye,
Carrie.
everybody.
Bye bye.
Later.